I'm Mary Susie from Bead Me a Story, and today I want to do an inverted round with closed rings demonstration. I wanted to keep this very simple and have a free PDF tutorial using some larger sizes of O-rings and jump rings so that you can see these steps very clearly. We have a lot of new beginners starting out. This is a great project to do because it's very sculptural and you can make all sorts of shapes and things with it. You can just make basic jewelry with it. This is a three-sided form, so you can see we've got 1, 2, and 3 sides to it, and you can also hold things captive within it. So this is a kit that I have on my website that's for beginners, and these little tri-beads make it really super simple to do this project and fit the little beads inside because they have little spokes sticking out, and that makes it very simple. The candy cane is also a video that's available free, but I just wanted to really focus on some larger sizes today and show you how the closed rings or the rubber O-rings are going to work, because we'll be doing 2 rows at a time. And actually doing this weave with closed rings is much harder than just doing the weave itself with all open rings. So this is just kind of a primer for you to get you started at understanding inverted round. And of course, the benefit of using the rubber rings is that that makes it stretchy and we can make it continuous. This weave is very hard to start and finish because it is 3-sided. And it's not real easy to attach a clasp to a 3-sided configuration. And the continuous version of it really prevents us from needing to worry about clasps and things like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So in order to do an inverted round with closed rings, which is what the rubber O-rings are, we're going to actually be working 2 rows at a time. So I wanted to show this. I have a larger row of O-rings as my first base row, and I wanted you to realize that you can change the sizes of your rings as you go along. The minimum aspect ratio for this is 3.5. So as long as your jump rings stay a little bit larger than that, then you should be just fine. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to start the first row. Now, this isn't anything like what we're going to be doing as we create this weave, but just to get it started, we're actually starting 3 rows at the same time. So there's this first row with the violet, and then there's the second row that's going to be the jump ring, and then the third row is going to be this blue. Okay, so I want to put these so that when I spread them out, they're on the same side. So you see, I'm going backwards. So I did violet and then blue, and then blue, then violet. Okay, so I'm just going to flatten that out so you can see it. And again, you can use the same size rings. I'm mainly doing this because this is going to sit up so that you're going to be able to see it a little bit more easily, and that's why I wanted a bigger ring at the base. Now I'm going to take another jump ring and I'm going to go through, let's just go through the same way. I'm going to go through the violet and blue, and then we'll do another blue and violet again. Okay, so we're just making a 2 by 1 by 2 row. Okay, and open that up, and I just want you to notice that the jump ring that I picked is large enough to fit all these 4 O-rings that it's connecting, with a little bit of extra room, but not a lot. Okay, and that's usually what you're looking for if you're going to do an inverted round. You just need it to fit around 4 rings. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. We'll do violet and blue, and then we're going to pass through our blue and violet over here. Okay, so we're just turning this whole thing into a triangle, basically. An inverted round is going to be 3-sided. Okay. And now that I have all this connected, let you see it here, I am going to pull it so that basically my jump rings are going to face to the outside, and so are all the rest of the rings. So I'm basically going to pull these 3 rings up and these 3 rings down, or these 3 rings left and these right, however you want to look at this. Okay, and you can see that I have a little triangle of jump rings if I look down the center. So if we wanted to do a captive inverted round, we'd be putting something inside here each time we started a new row. But that's not what I wanted to do today. I just want to show you what the inverted round looks like when you do it with closed rings. And when you're doing it with closed rings, you're actually adding 2 rows at a time. So I'm going to be adding my jump ring row next, and then we're going to also be adding this row, which is our bright kiwi. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we're going to be using 2 of these O-rings at a time, and when we do the first connection, we're going to add 2 O-rings. Okay, so I'm going to go from the outside to the inside. Oh, I didn't open my jump ring quite enough. Let me do that. Okay, so we're working on the blue row, and I'm going to go from the outside to the inside, and then from the inside to the outside of the next blue O-ring that's over to my left. So I'm working right to left. If you're left-handed, you can work left to right. That's no problem. The principles are going to be the same here. Okay, and then I'm picking up 1 and 2 O-rings. Now these O-rings are going to sit directly over top of the blue ones. And my jump ring is going to sit directly over top my previous row's jump ring. Okay, so that'll be a straight line. But you can see that the jump rings are in between the O-rings, so they sit in between the rows. Okay, now I'll push this ring up just so you can see I've still got my 3 rings here. And I'm going to do the same thing. So this was my first ring, this was the second one, so I'm going to pass from outside to inside, inside to outside. This actually third. I'm passing through the second and through the third, and then I'm going to pick up my 3rd O-ring. So this time I only pick up 1 O-ring, but I'm also going to pass through this one that's over on my right hand side. So I need to be passing through 2 of the blue and 2 of the bright kiwi in order to do this step. And that's going to be true with every time you add a jump ring, you're going to be passing through 4 O-rings, 2 from the row below and 2 into the new row. And that's why first we added 2, and then we added 1, and we connected to this other one over here. And now we're not going to need to add any, but you can see that where these are going to join up here. So we're going to go outside to inside, inside to outside. We'll pass through these 2 blue, and we'll come up and pass through these 2 kiwi. Okay, and then we'll close that jump ring. And that's basically all there is to adding a row with closed rings. Okay, so I pass through my 2 blue, and then I'm going to pass through the 2 bright kiwi. Okay, and then I can just keep going like this, on and on and on and on, adding additional rows. And you can see, once again, I'll let these spread out so you can see I've got my little triangle here in the center. I'm going to pull these up, to start working on a new row. And now you can see why I used the larger. It created a nice little base. So I'll just point out with this little base that the inverted round is a great one, especially when you're using rubber, where you can start doing three-dimensional forms and things like that. It has a lot of structure to it, and it has a lot of unique holes in it, and it's triangular shaped. So you can do a lot of neat things with this. But that's basically all there is to this. And I will go ahead and I'm going to grab 3 more jump rings. I want to add these in 3 different colors, just so you can see this once again. Let's see, let's go back to our blue this time. I'll get 3 more blue rings. Okay, and I'm going to do my pink first. Okay, so once again, we're going to pass from outside to inside, inside to outside, these kiwi rings. And in the first step, we're going to add 2 O-rings of the next row. So if you remember, we're adding our jump ring row as well as our rubber O-ring row with this. Okay. And then I'm going to push this one up here. So we're working on the kiwi now. So I'm going to take my green one. I just want you to be able to see this in multiple colors, so you see what I'm doing with each row. So I pass from outside to inside, inside to outside. This is my lower row, my bright kiwi row. I'm going to grab the 3rd and final O-ring that I'm adding to my new row. But I also need to pass through this previous O-ring here. Now when I do this, I need to make sure that I'm passing from the inside to the outside. If you get this closed and it looks twisted around, you probably went through it in the wrong direction. Okay. I'll just let you see that connection there. See how it passes through the 2 kiwi and the 2 blue. And now we're going to get to our 3rd side, and we want that to look the same way as what I just showed you. So we'll go outside to inside, inside to outside through the kiwi, and then outside to inside, inside to outside through the powder blue. And this 3rd connection is usually fairly easy to do because you can see where everything belongs and it's laying pretty close to being correct. Okay, so that shows you that with 3 different color jump rings. Okay. And now, of course, you could take this unit and keep going and then connect it back to itself, in which case, you know, all your connections are going to look just like this. So when you connect the start to the finish, you're still going to have that same kind of connection going on there. But I thought it would be interesting and fun to just show you this particular weave is much easier with just jump rings. That's not always the case. A lot of times O-rings are easier. They have a little bit more friction. They keep their shape better. But because we're adding 2 rows when we do this, this makes this weave a little bit harder to do with closed rings. So I'm going to start again where my pink is, and I'm just going to show you what this would look like if we're just doing an inverted round with jump rings. Okay, so I pass outside to inside, inside to outside, and I close the jump ring. Okay, and then I go to my next 2. So the second one I used here, and then this is the 3rd ring. And I can see I've got green. So I'm going to pass outside to inside, inside to outside, through those 2 O-rings there. Okay. And then the 3rd one, once again, I'm passing through these final 2 blue O-rings. Okay, so now that was a row I just added of basic inverted round. So I just added 3 jump rings. Now, what happens when you're using rings that are all the same, which you would be doing if you were doing all jump rings, is that now this next row, see how like all of our jump rings are above each other? So now these jump rings are going to take the place of the O-rings, and they're going to be a little in-between row. And that is going to start creating a spiral in your colors, because I'm going to pass through the pink from outside to inside, and then inside to outside the green. And you can see that that's not directly above the pink anymore. It's a little to the side of it. So that starts that diagonal line working. Let me push this up a little. I just don't have a good grip on it. Okay, so we'll close that. And then we will do our green next. And of course, this is going to go through the green, and then it's going to go through the blue. And it's sitting to the side of the green that's below it. Okay, so you can see inverted round itself, very simple, very easy weave, just made a little bit more difficult when we use closed rings, but totally worth it because it creates such a nice sculptural element that can be used in so many different ways. Okay, so now I'm passing through my blue and then through the pink. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to make this weave longer, let's go ahead and show you how to connect the beginning of it to the end of it. So I'm not going to use this little beginning point. I took the jump rings off of this end piece, which is my blue, and then I tried to make sure my other piece that's going to match up is green so that we have some contrasting colors that you can see better here. But basically just imagine this is the end of a bracelet and we're bringing it up and around, and it will meet in this position. Okay. So I'm going to start over here on this side. Okay. You'll notice that my rings are in position of how I need them to be. Okay. And then I'm just going to push these two rings together and connect through there. Okay, and that first connection is generally the easiest, but we're basically going to do the same thing with each of these other ones. So here, let me pass through two of the green, the bright kiwi green. You can see my jump ring is in the position that I would want it to be. It mimics this one down here. And then I just squeeze these two together, pass through them, and close. Okay, and this all still hinges and moves around pretty easily till we get to this last one. Okay, but we're still going to do just the same thing. Okay, we're going to pass through our two green. Those are pinching together pretty easily as it is, so no problem there. And we'll close that last ring. Okay, and now this weave is continuous. With the O-rings, I just stretch it back out, make sure all the jump rings are lying in a nice position, and then you can see we have a continuous inverted round. You don't even know which one of these I did at this point, and that's what we want to see. Okay, and you can see this is a triangle, 3 sides. So, and I could have had something on the inside, but we didn't here. I just wanted to show you the basic weave. And of course you can do this in a multitude of sizes. So on my website, I will, at least for today, put this one size, but where I tend to have free tutorials, I can always add more sizes later. So when I add more sizes of rings in there, I like to give you a link so that it goes to the actual product where you can then purchase the supplies for it. And there will be a PDF, a free PDF on my website that you can download using these colors and showing you how to get this started if you prefer to see this just in, a visual and written format. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this project. Again, this is just a get you started with inverted round with larger rings so you can see it clearly. I can really break things down for you, but there's tons of different things that you can do with this weave, making the rings smaller and larger, putting things inside, connecting some kind of rope inside of this. And, the sky's the limit with this. It's very sculptural and it lends itself to a lot of different ways of using it. So I hope you'll give it a try and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me.